Hey, this is CrossFitTracking.com with a full summary review of what I believe are the 3 best CrossFit tracking watches and prices for each of them, especially since it's the holidays. You have a bunch of sales going on right now. Wanted to give a full summary of the ones that I've tested and the ones that I feel like I like the best for the at the current price levels. It's sort of varying levels of what you can afford to spend. So specifically, we're going to review or talk about 3 different watches. One is the Suunto Fitness 3, another is the Polar Ignite, and the last is the Garmin 245, which I don't have a display unit now. But we'll talk about those. I'll put up some hands-on videos for the Suunto Fitness 3 as well as the Polar Ignite a little bit later as well. But I wanted to get into it. So the main things that we track in CrossFitTracking.com is how well they perform during a workout. Can they pair with the chest strap, as well as just what are they good at just keeping track of the workout itself? How much do they evaluate the depth or effort expended in a workout? How they evaluate the recovery needed from an extensive workout? How they evaluate the load that's placed on your body over a prolonged number of workout sessions, how they evaluate your sleep and your recovery needs just overall physically, and calculating or estimating your overall resources to go into the next workout. Overall application stuff to see how the app sort of works in conjunction with usable information, as well as the price. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. So if you're looking to buy a smartwatch to track your CrossFit workouts and to evaluate how you're performing and how you're doing and see that over time, these are the 3 best at different price levels that I have tested to date. So the first is the Suunto Fitness 3. It comes in at the lowest price. Now I like to compare what you can get it on eBay for, as well as the full price. So this is an incredible deal if you're you're comfortable with like a used product on eBay, because you can get one of these somewhere around $75, not a lot under $100. And there's a few great things about it. Number one, it has full heart rate quality. So Suunto has put their best optical heart rate sensor, see if we can get it to activate, on the back, and it has 2 green diodes and 1 orange. I found it actually tracks my heart rate a little bit better, and maybe that's just from a skin tone issue. But it gives great heart rate tracking, obviously at an affordable price. It does a full analysis on the workout, so it'll give you your effort level expended on your workout and estimated recovery time. So that's super helpful dynamics, especially at such a low price. It does a great tracking in sleep tracking, does a great job tracking your sleep. And what it also does, it has something called resources, which measures your heart rate variability, similar to Garmin's body battery. And it'll just sort of track, and they use actually first beat dynamics or analytics, just like Garmin does. So the higher end Garmin watches that use the first beat analytics to evaluate how hard the workout was, not just your heart rate, is available in this Suunto at that low price. So it's a pretty incredible deal. I like the software itself on the application, because when you do a CrossFit workout, this is sort of dumb, but it has like a CrossFit picture, and it gives you sort of a pictorial, for different types of exercises. Plus you have a million different, all 3 of these watches have a million different preloaded exercise types that you can go with. So overall, and the battery life is pretty good. I think with using full tilt information, you can get about 3 days. Now, what are the cons for the watch? Oh, the other thing it's a positive is it tracks your stress. That obviously ties into heart rate variability, which is what first beat is tracking on Garmin's body battery, and it ties into the resources here. But cons are the screen is, one of the least effective screens as far as ability to read, and you have a backlight. It has one of the weakest backlights, unfortunately, and I'll show you in the hands-on how you can adjust the backlight to have an always-on dim display, so that at night it's a little bit easier to read. You don't have to have a hand gesture, you don't have to push a button. So that's probably the negative, because I feel like everything else about it is relatively good. So it's a smaller screen, a dimmer screen, problematic backlight. So that's the Suunto Fitness 3. The next up is the Polar Ignite, which I would say pound for pound is probably the best CrossFit tracking workout watch you can get. So you can see that it's got a full color screen. It's the only of these three that have a full AMOLED screen. The pixel quality, pixel resolution is a little bit low, so it's not fantastic there. One thing that Polar does really well is they track your sleep analysis better than other watches that I've tested. So it gives you deeper analytics for different aspects of your sleep. So Garmin now tracks your breathing rates, but they don't tie it in to whether your recovery is at a higher level or a lower level going into the next day. One thing that Polar doesn't do is it doesn't track your trends over a longer period of time when it comes to how your overall resources are. It just tracks the last night's sleep, but it still gauges what effect the previous day had on the next day. So it ties in, but not directly so. One thing they do great, they're great on workout analysis. It does do the full training impact. So the measure of the difficulty evaluated of the workout, as well as I had to find the recovery time estimates using the Polar Beat app. So the Polar Beat will naturally or automatically upload your workouts from Polar Flow, which is the main software that you would use for this. But under the Beat app, I found that if you go into the workout through the Beat app, it would give you a recovery time. So it's not as easy, not as direct, but it does a great job evaluating your impact of that workout, but it also evaluates your load over a period of time so you can see how under strain your body is, all of which is super helpful information. The screen is bright and brilliant. It's easy to read. I just love the AMOLED type screens versus the transflective, I don't know exactly the type that Suunto and Garmin and a lot of devices use. The battery life is reasonable. They say 5 days. I think it's really more about 3 days. One thing before I forget, all these watches use a 20 millimeter swappable band. So they're all very easy to get cheap replacement bands online. So you can easily swap it out and change your style and change your look. One of the cons for the Polar Ignite, the wrist raise to get the screen to come on is sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes it has a 2-second delay. I've also found the processing speed of the watch itself is a little bit delayed, and the touch sensitivity of the screen is a little bit delayed. So it feels like there's a little bit of a lag. Not super terribly problematic, but it's a little, not as easy to use. And you have to force it to sync. It doesn't automatically sync. You have to hold down the button. One thing that's great as far as overall use in a CrossFit workout is the one button that it has is slightly recessed. So not only can you lock the screen, I've found that to be very easy, and I'll show you in the hands-on video how you lock the screen, because it's just a simple swipe down and you can control it. But the button being recessed makes it even easier to not press during a workout. So overall, pound for pound, and the price-wise, you can find these on eBay. Again, the Suunto Fitness 3 and this Polar Ignite are less often found. There's not a huge supply of pre-owned watches, but you can find it between $100 and $125, which is an incredible price. Plus, they're all on sale now, at least on the Suunto Fitness 3. Suunto Fitness 3 you can find for, I think, $139 for Black Friday pricing. And the Polar Ignite, I believe, is $169 for Black Friday pricing. So pick it up pre-owned, $100 to $125, right around that range. It's got full GPS built into it, so you could take it for runs if you want to. But I found it to be an incredibly great CrossFit tracking watch with a great screen and for the price. So the last we're going to talk about is the Garmin 245. The Garmin 245 comes in at the higher end of the price range. So brand new, $349. If you want to have the music component, and that's one of the added features or benefits you have available to you, or $299 for the just straight up 245 with no music. Online, if you look on eBay, I think you can get one for probably in the $225 to $250 range with music. But some of the benefits of the Garmin 245, it does a full analysis where you can get the training effect both from an aerobic and anaerobic analysis from the workout itself. It tracks your load over a period of days, and they've even added the load focus, which is available, I think, typically on the higher end, the 945, as well as the Phoenix 6 series, where it tracks what type of workouts you're doing. If you're doing what type of, whether it's short paced or high intensity, or I can't remember exactly all of the different detailed descriptives, but it takes your workouts and it categorizes them in 3 main areas to show you if you're light in a type of area where you can up that area over the next period of time. One of the things I love about Garmin is they take your heart rate variability and they track your stress, but they convert that into the body battery. Now it's the same thing the Fitness 3 does with the resources, but it shows you overall how your overall body health is going based on your recovery time, your sleep, how much rest you're getting, and how much stress you're under. One of the things about the 245 that's a definite differentiator is it's more of a smartwatch. So the Polar Ignite and the Suunto Fitness 3 don't have widgets. They have your basic stats, and I like that because I just like it, keep it simple, just to use it for tracking workouts, getting text alerts, and having a watch. But the 245 allows you to change the watch faces. It allows you to add widgets for hydration tracking, for menstrual tracking, for a whole bunch of different areas you can track. And Garmin, the 245 as well, as far as connecting to a chest strap, is the only one of its kind that connects to Ant Plus versus just Bluetooth only. So you can use an inexpensive Ant Plus, Garmin chest strap and do great. I believe there's a bunch of other types of components that are Ant Plus based, like foot pods and power sensors, things like that I don't use. One of the things that's another benefit feature of the 245 is it has pulse ox, which can calculate your overall oxygen level in your blood, and that ties into your overall health, ties into the quality of your sleep. So another benefit, you can get a music version. Obviously it's $50 on the retail side, and it costs you about $25 to $50 more if you're looking on a pre-owned. But you can download all your songs. It syncs with the Bluetooth headphones, and you can just have your watch for workouts very easily. The battery is great. So 5-day battery life. So it says 7 days in smartwatch mode, but I think it's really more around 4 to 5 days, but it's got a fast recharge time, so you can easily keep it loaded. And it obviously has recovery time too, with all those higher level analytics that they're offering. I think it is an incredibly great watch, because Garmin has loaded most of their higher quality tracking from first beat data technology into a relatively affordable price point. The cons on it is the screen. Again, I wish it had all these in the venue, all of these tracking components in the venue. Then you'd have a beautiful smartwatch screen, and you'd have all the higher level analytics. But the screen is they're transflective, so it's great in daylight. It's always on, so you can always see it. And for some reason, this recent update of the 245 versus the 645 that came out a little bit longer ago, even though the 645 is more expensive, the screen quality is better on the 245. The colors are more vivid, so at least you'll have the better version of the less quality screen. And it doesn't track stairs, no barometric altimeter, so you're not going to get stair tracking. You're not going to get excellent elevation tracking on runs outside of GPS. So overall, at the higher end of the spectrum, let's say 225 to 250 for buying pre-owned, it has everything you could want. You could obviously step down to the Polar Ignite in the $100 to $125 range with a better quality screen. You'll miss some of the widgets, some of the smartwatch capabilities, and you can step even further down to the Suunto Fitness 3 to do sub $100 high quality fitness analytics, but just on a junky screen. So they're all three the top CrossFit trackers, in my opinion, on the market today at varying price points. Obviously, you could go up on the Garmin line to the Fenix 6, the 945, but a lot of the stats, a lot of the details that they add are for people who are doing large terrain hiking or significant running or power metrics on the runs themselves, and none of that stuff necessarily applies to CrossFit tracking. So again, this is the full summary review of the best CrossFit trackers at the varying price points from the Suunto Fitness 3, the Polar Ignite, and the Garmin 245. CrossFittracking.com. Thanks.